Thank you. I appreciate it.
Questions? Chris, is there anybody in a better position than you to kind of advise Edmund on what's facing him?
I mean, I'm just one of many. You know, I would think I would be a trusted voice for him as he goes through a really arduous rehab and all that goes into repairing an ACL and then coming back from it. But, you know, there are a lot of people that he can lean on. Certainly doctors and therapists are number one, and then, you know, people that have been through it. I encourage him, much like when I went through it, to do as much research on it as he can. You know, there are a lot of terrific stories out there from, you know, athletes that have overcome even more than what he's going to have to overcome. And I know that helped me through my journey. But, you know, each person's different, and I'll be whatever Edmund needs me to be.
What will you tell him, or what have you told him?
Well, the first thing I told him is, you know, and it was part of my quote, you know, sometimes bad things happen to good people. I told him that if this is the worst thing that happens in your life, you're gonna live a really good life, and that's always difficult to hear within 24 hours of injuring yourself. But to have a larger perspective, you know, I shared a couple stories of, you know, friends of our family that a year ago were healthy. Dad gets diagnosed with cancer. A year later, he's not on, you know, not on this earth. And so everybody has problems, and I'm not diminishing what's happened to Ed. I feel really, really terribly for him, but the sun's going to shine the next day. And again, if this is the worst thing that happens in his life, he's going to live a really good life. Then I talked about, you know, what he's going to face in rehab. And no matter how much you push, and I may have learned this the hard way, no matter how much you push physically, and no matter how much you strengthen your legs and get your mobility back and flexibility and all that stuff, there's a healing process that you can't speed up. You know, he's going to have some type of graft. I'm sure it's going to be a graft. It's going to be some type of patella. It's going to either be from the patella tendon, could be a cadaver, could be an artificial one, hamstring, you name it. But there's a transformation that takes place that has nothing to do with how hard you rehab. That tendon will transform into a ligament, no matter how fast or how hard you rehab. And that just comes from a lot of experience.
So, Chris, will Edmund be around the team still? Will he be able to, like, sit on the bench at games, or is he going to be kind of just busy with his rehab and that process?
No, he wants to be a big part of the team, but, you know, there's also you know, a little bit of time where right now it's hard for him to get around. You know, we have to wait for the swelling to go down, and you know, he's got a little bit of a bone bruise in there, and they want that to go down before he even has surgery. And then once you have surgery, you know, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get around. So I assume he'll be here when he can, and when he can't, he won't be.
Have you thought about, if you haven't talked to him about it already, when the right time might be to talk to him about next year?
That's way premature. I want to sit down with Ed and his family, and we'll worry about that, you know, at a later date. You know, right now my concern is just getting him back, you know, healthy, and there's a process to that, and there's no decision that has to be made one way or the other. Whether he comes back to Xavier and plays next year, whether he goes on to the NBA, I don't know what's right at this point, and I really don't care. We'll get that information, and we'll sit down, and Ed and his family will do what's best for Ed, and that's about it.
With Edmund out of the picture now, you have 9 scholarship players. That includes Tim Stainbrook. Do you foresee a bigger role for Tim moving forward?
I see a bigger role for everybody on our team. You know, I don't know if that means minutes for Tim or not, but he needs to be ready.
The road back is equal parts mental as physical. What do you see from Edmund to know that he'll be able to handle that part of the journey back?
Well, he sat out his freshman year, and he became a better player during that time. And, you know, much like a lot of athletes do, they gain an appreciation when you're without the sport. But Ed's a very, very high character kid. And that might get tossed around a whole lot and nowadays, but to his core, I don't know if I've coached a better kid. He's a tremendous student. You know, and that's what it takes. It takes a lot of character to do rehab when no one's watching. You know, I never have to follow up on the details with Ed. I mean, he always does what he needs to do and usually pretty quiet about it. But it's going to be a lonely road, and you know, no matter how much we try to include him, his teammates try to include him, there's a natural separation that occurs when a player gets injured. And so I encourage our team to, you know, be that shoulder he can lean on. And but there are going to be some days where just he and Fluker, it's just he and the rehab specialists, and it's just how it works.
How are other players taking it? Obviously, to see their friend in that state can't be.
They feel for him, but we also have a job to do. And so, you know, when they're with Ed, you know, I expect them to be great teammates like they always are. And, you know, we talked about it yesterday when Ed wasn't around. But, you know, they also have a job to do, and each guy has to step up a little bit more as we move forward.
In past years, when numbers got to be thin in terms of depth, the team turned more to playing zone. Will you guys change up a lot of what you do in response to having fewer resources?
We might.
Is just for the standpoint of having as much experience around Quentin as possible, do you think the personnel situation affects what you want to do with Tyreek?
I don't follow.
Do you think you'd be perhaps less likely to start Tyreek, play him more, just from the standpoint of getting one of the senior forwards in there with him first?
Yeah, I just play the best players in practice. You know, the guys that that earn the right to play and earn the right to start. You know, gain our trust, and Tyreek's done that all along. And so if he continues to do what he needs to do, then he's going to continue to play. And, you know, it doesn't say Xavier freshman or Xavier senior or Xavier redshirt junior on your chest. It says Xavier. So you've been given a scholarship. You got to step up and do what the coach asks. I don't worry about that.
How tough was it as both a coach and a person to deal with what Edmund had to deal with the last little while, but then have to put the coach hat back on and you know, continue with the goals of the season?
I don't want to trivialize it, but I'm used to that. You know, this is a very I don't know how to put it. You know, a very public thing, and you know, he got injured in front of everybody. I mean, he's been a major contributor, but you know, we deal with distractions as coaches all the time, and Ed's not a distraction, trust me. But you know, it changed our team dynamic. So we're always dealing with that. I think in the coaching profession, that's my job, is to figure out a way to move this group forward.
Of the challenges that Seton Hall brings in, rebounding has to be kind of their bread and butter. And within that, Angel Delgado seems to be the heartbeat of their team. He's had like 42 rebounds the last 2 games alone. What kind of challenges is he posing? Have you seen someone that dominant on the glass, you know, in a while?
He is. He's one of the best rebounders I've ever coached against. I mean, he's just you can't move him. He's so strong. He's really disciplined. You know, he's not a guy that's just flying over people's backs, and if you block him out, you're good. I mean, he just really knows how to, you know, bunker down and hold his position. He has terrific hands. He has great timing. He's to me, he's the best big in our league. He's really good, and you know, he can do so many different things. You know, he can pass, but as you said before, his rebounding is as good as it gets at the college level.
Does he remind you of, say, Matt Steenbrook a little bit, the way he can pass and rebound?
Hell no. There's nothing similar to Matt and Angel Delgado. Matt was a great player, but different. You know, Delgado's a lot stronger. both teams play through him. They play through Angel a lot, so maybe physically they're a lot different, but maybe in that sense, Shannon, you might be right.
How did your surgeries kind of come to define who you are?
Phew. Phew. I think it made me have a different perspective on things. You know, I know, and as we all get older, you know, but I think I learned it very early on. Nobody really feels sorry for you. You know, everybody's got a life to lead, and you might get a couple comments when it first happened, and that was my point with Edmund, is that there's going to be some lonely days ahead. And, you know, it's just, it's difficult. But, you know, for me, I think it showed me a work ethic and a resolve to get back. It put things into perspective. Like I said, I knew that when my basketball playing days were done, I didn't want them to be, but that was reality. I was different than Ed. It was on my second one. And, you know, sometimes life, you know, deals you some cruel blows, and you just have to be able to figure it out and be better because of it. And, you know, I think I did that. Thanks.